Well, it's 5 games into the Eagles season. I figured to give you a long form video talking about what's going on and what's happening to. We'll get to them in a minute. I don't even need to say their name. You know who I'm talking about. But anyway, um, the Eagles are 5-0, and it just feels weird because there's a mix of like this team has that it factor to it. You feel confident that they can do as good as they did last year, right? To just I'm not feeling that last year kind of vibe as well, and that's what celebrates Eagles fans from from them. Is there is a talk of reality here in Philadelphia, and I hear it on sports talk radio. Like this is the most subdued that I have heard the fan base after 5 games. Because we see another team in the league in the 49ers that are just playing as close to flawless football as you can right now. I mean, nothing is ever going to be perfect. And we see Brock Purdy playing at a level that is considerably higher than what he did last season, which was already insanely high. If that's I mean, as impossible as to say, Brock Purdy is playing significantly better than what he did last season. And there wasn't much to point at flaw-wise with him last year. And that defense is for real. They've got playmakers on just every position. They destroyed last night. And Christian McCaffrey wasn't even their leading rusher. Like think about that for a second. Um I Well, one thing that really bugs me is I want to see the Eagles play a really good team right now. And you only play the games that you're scheduled. I get all that. You play who you play, and if you come out on top, then especially after 5 games, a 5 game winning streak, no matter who you're playing in the NFL, isn't exactly just a snap of the fingers. Why'd I try to snap my left hand anyway? Um, but man, I just feel some of the simplest things, some of the things that are the most lacking on the Eagles right now are the simplest things to correct. It just play calling, play calling, play calling. Why DeAndre Swift was not used to full capacity mainly in the first 3 quarters of that game yesterday, I don't know. Why they all of a sudden started using him in the latter half of the third quarter and then you sprinkle him in the fourth quarter more regular than you did previously in the game, I don't know. Why you're seeing Jalen Hurts run with the ball 2 to 3 times in the red zone, that final Eagles offensive drive of the game, instead of like handing it off to like, if you're going to concede not getting a touchdown, at least hand it to your running back and not have your quarterback take stupid shots in the end of the game on the final drive. Because I know at that point they're saying, hey, we're already in the red zone. Jake Elliott is automatic enough as it is. We're going to get 3 points. That's going to take the lead to 9 points with 3 minutes left. So how are they going to come back and score twice at that point? Like I get that. And the thing that is the most lacking, and I hate to harp on the negatives with a 5-win team, but it's pointing out things that should be showing you that this team is legit for this reason, and this reason. Those reasons just aren't showing. Like, why does it take the entire game for Hassan Reddick to show up right now? Why does it take the entire game for all of a sudden to be like, oh, that's right, he's on the team. That guy wearing number 7 is on the team. And granted, that was a tremendous final defensive stand for the Eagles, but it's like, why are we not seeing that all game? What is the adjustment that's not being made? Why does Hassan Reddick look like such a beast in that final possession of the game and look irrelevant in the remainder of the game? Like, it's stuff like that that tells me it's like there's just terrible play calling on the defensive side of the ball or something. Why is this team that is mostly the same on specifically the defensive front four not getting that amount of pressure in the quarterback's face that you saw last season? The team that had sacks out the ass, is one of the most irrelevant sack garnering team in the league this year. Like, you must be like, oh my God, the Eagles must have had a number of injured players. They must have a number of players flipped on it. Like, no, the defense is pretty much the same, especially on the in the trenches. So, and it's so weird because you see guys like Jason Kelsey getting heated on the sideline in a game that is pretty much in control at that point, late in the fourth quarter, and you see him yelling at Nick Sirianni and yelling at coaches and stuff, just saying like, I'd imagine he was really pissed at the play calling, specifically having Jalen run the ball so many times in the red zone the way they did and just fizzled out. You storm down the field, put an 80-yard drive together, and it's like, blah, blah, blah. But I'm dying to see this team play a really good team. Like, I'm dying to see what they look like against the Dolphins. And not that I feel that they're as much of the elite class of the AFC as I did 2 weeks ago when they were setting the world on fire before they got humbled by the Bills. But I want to see this team play against someone that I'm like, yeah, that's a definite playoff caliber team right now. Because you can only stick your chest out so far right now over a team like they got curb stomped last night. And it's just such a mix right now because you see the 49ers setting the league on literal fire right now. And it's like, I want to feel as good as the 49ers fans do right now because they are such a beyond legit 5-0. And the Eagles are kind of just like, they're 5-0, but I can't even say that they're honestly a top 5 team in the league this year so far until they find their way. But I mean, what is going right is, well, you see the game plan for LA yesterday. And their game plan was to just not get burnt with someone like Devontae Smith running over the hill and having no one else in their home jerseys on his tail. So they shut down Devontae Smith, but then, you got AJ having himself a game. You have Dallas Goedert having himself a game. So you just see like this wealth of options on offense. But again, it's like, why are we abandoning the run? Why are we keeping this game close? I feel like if they were just consistently running the ball as well in the first half, this game would have been over by halftime. Instead, you have a close game where you need a just complete unprecedented. And this is what that touchdown drive that they had with 30-some seconds left going into halftime. I don't know if anyone else had this feeling, and let me know if you did, but were you saying to yourself, that is what we should have seen at the end of the Super Bowl last year? We should have seen Jalen with at least that amount of time to try and work down the field. That is what pissed me off. It's like this team is like, okay, you're giving the ball with 30-some seconds left. Do something with it. And they get a touchdown out of it. But man, that penalty that was the most egregious holding call that the defense had of either team all game. That's how the Super Bowl ended. Anyways, did anyone else watching that game get that vibe? Like, that is what the end of the Super... Like, they should have been given the chance to work that magic of a drive that you saw from the Eagles going into halftime in LA yesterday. Anyways, I don't know if anyone got that vibe or if it was just me, but anyways. God, there's so much right with this team. There's so much, like, AJ is on fire. Devontae Smith has still shown glimpses, but defenses are tuning him, trying to tune him out of games as well, like you saw with LA yesterday, which again is fine because, there's not many teams that you're going to say like, oh, don't worry. There's plenty of teams that could shut down both AJ and Devontae. So that's where I'm feeling really good. But man, Jalen Hurts, his touch on his passes some of the times, doesn't look like that same guy from last season. Just something just looks a little bit off, and that concerns me. But then there's times where he is finding guys. Like he is still dropping dimes to guys like Dallas and Devontae sometimes, and AJ consistently enough that I'm like, it's take a deep breath of relief because the potential is still there. The machine is still clicking good enough that you're winning 5 games in a row to start the season. Now, as for the rest of the season, I mean, you have a 2-game lead in the NFC East, and I'll mention their names. The Cowboys and their fan base are finally humbled again with a 42-10 loss last night. You hear their fans setting the world on fire again. We beat the Patriots, the team that got shut out today. Oh, Patriots, you guys suck again. But what's that saying? Because we beat them as well, and not as convincingly as the Dallas Cowboys did. But anyway, the division is seemingly the Eagles to lose at this point. You have a 2-game lead, more than a 2-game lead compared to the Giants. But anyway, and it's like, just don't screw things up at this point, because this world can come crumbling down real quick if you have an any given Sunday loss against a team like the Jets next week. Now, I won't be as surprised if they lose to a team like the Dolphins the week after that, because the Dolphins are, every bit legit, at least on offense. But don't fall asleep against a team like the Jets, because, man, reality will humble down so quick, and hunger for teams like Dallas will bubble up that quick. And the NFC East could be anyone's for the taking. Right now, it's not. Right now, it is such a commanding lead to have a 2-game lead before it's even Halloween. I almost said Christmas. I mean, the Eagles are sitting pretty in their division. Okay. I just wish I saw better coaching decisions right now, and just more consistent game plan. That just, like, again, why is DeAndre Swift so underutilized after he showed you he can give you the world in week 3? Like, man. And from the Super Bowl on, you just have not seen pressure on opposing teams' quarterbacks. Nowhere near what you saw from the NFC Championship game to game 1 of the season last year. Anyway, I'm obviously concerned about the 49ers. And that team is just such a fun team to watch. Brock Purdy, seen him, and the story behind Brock Purdy, and them, what they did to get Trey Lance there, and Jimmy G, and all that shit. And here you just find this diamond in the rough, this last pick of the draft guy. Like, I don't know who we want. I don't know, another quarterback. We'll take another quarterback. Sure, why not? This Brock kid. Sure, why not? Even though we already have Jimmy G and Trey Lance on the team. Like, just to see a story like that is just incredible. And that's one of the facets. It's the Tom Brady story of, this kid that no one else wanted. He gets picked by a team that's, one of the better the Patriots weren't one of the better franchises in the league, but they then became. But the 49ers are just a storied franchise, and they just find this diamond in the rough. It's just a great story. As a fan of the game, I love seeing that. I just wish the 49ers weren't such crybabies after what happened last year in the NFC Championship game. And I know it sucks. Like, you would like to see what they would have done with Brock Purdy healthy, but you have your chance this season. And that's the thing, is the Eagles can play as flimsy as they want into December and be like, oh, they're neck and neck with the 49ers, but the 49ers are clearly a class above them. They're going to have their day because they have to play the 49ers. Okay? So all excuses, all the talk in the world, let that be a motivating factor to the Eagles, and see if it does become a motivating factor for the Eagles. Because right now, they are getting talked down to a complete level below the 49ers, and I think they honestly should be. So the Eagles, as players, as a team, they can either take that and excel in December when they face the 49ers and tell everyone to take their opinion and shove it up their ass, or they can say, yeah, the 49ers are that team. They're that bitch, and they smacked us around, just like what you saw them do to the Cowboys last night. They just smacked the Cowboys into oblivion last night. Oblivion, beat them by 32 points. All that talk from the Cowboys fans and oh, we beat New York State, even though they forget that Buffalo is in the state of New York as well. Idiots. Whoa, we beat New York State like 100 and something to 4, whatever ridiculous point spread it was. Um, I like. I think we won't hear from the Cowboys fans, but I don't know. I honestly think the Chargers are going to tune them up this next week on Monday Night Football, and if they do, it's going to be complete crisis time in Dallas, and I'm going to love it. But I'm looking out for my number one above all right now because honestly, like looking to defeat the Cowboys is such a rung under anticipating that matchup with the 49ers right now. Because they're just I wish I could tell you that as long as the Eagles take advantage of this weakness, like what weakness on the 49ers? What weakness? They're a team that doesn't look like they're struggling with play calling. They're looking like they're a team that isn't struggling at any facet of the game. And they are clearly like as a representative of my team that's 5-0, talking to anyone else that's in support of the other team that's 5-0, they're clearly the class of the league right now. Clearly. And the Eagles, I'm having a hard time telling you with a straight face that they're a top 3 or top 5 team right now. Like, anyway, I don't know. What say you guys about the Eagles or Cowboys fans? Oh, don't worry. If they beat the Chargers, Super Bowl again! Super Bowl, we beat the Chargers! Oh, no. Actually, no. I actually don't think that, even as stupid and as Kool-Aid drinking as their fan base is, I think we might not hear much from them the rest of the season right now. Because they, like the Eagles, had a very easy schedule up to this point. And again, it's like I want the Eagles, like, as much as the Eagles got picked on last year for their schedule, I will admit that, they didn't have many legit tests through the season. I want to see my team play the 49ers. I want to see them play the Dolphins. I want to see them play the teams that are considered the class of the league, the playoff teams of the league. I don't care that the Eagles, I don't care as much that the Eagles beat the Giants twice or, beat a team like the Cardinals, stuff like that. Like, yeah. Like, where are the Rams going this season? Oh, they might make the playoffs, but I doubt it. And they haven't really curb stomped anyone. I mean, Tampa, but even that. Anyway, what say you, Eagles fans? How you feeling? 5-0. Again, it's such a mix this season of, man, there's so much potential that I don't think they're utilizing. And I think there's so many ways you could look at this. It's like, I think they could be a better team than last season if they get things right with the defensive rush on the quarterback and utilize this run game with a guy that is considerably better than anything you've seen at running back in years on this team, DeAndre Swift, where utilize him, just try to use him consistently and see what's doing. Don't show me he's a world beater in 1 week and then make it look like, we'll just sprinkle on him here and there a couple times the next 3 weeks. What? Anyway, I mean, I'm enjoying it so far, but I would like to feel that my team is much more dominant in the league, and I don't. But they're 5-0, and I'm not going to complain about that. I'm just hoping for a lot more. But then again, so are the Cowboys fans. That is all.